Hello and welcome. My name is Jessica Gem, and in today's video, I'm telling you the end of Leah's story. So prep your tissues and let's get glowing. And now to continue the story. Vecna, who was a lich, decided to offer Leah the same abilities, and not knowing the cost of this, in-game or out, I accepted the blue potion that he had given me, and the Vulpas I was with, V2, accepted the green potion that he gave them as well. Leah underwent the ritual first, entering the domain of undeath, a consumer of souls. This was not something that she truly wanted, but she felt that it was necessary to complete her goal. Immediately after the ritual, she used Time Stop and created a blade of disaster, holding V2 in place and ending them after they nearly escaped. Leah later learned the truth of the ritual, that to become a lich, you needed to consume the soul of the one most dear to you. She learned that apparently Archie, who had been living as Lapis, had died, and Shadow as Leo had also passed, being the soul that V2 had consumed. This obviously would not be allowed to stand. At this time, Leah dedicated her life to the revival of Archie and the fixing of Rael's family. She had acquired a blank epic spell scroll, an ancient artifact with the power to do almost anything, as long as you could gather the right components. She then set out to do just that, along with another task she deemed vital. While Vecna was continuing to prepare the things he needed for the Ascension ritual, Leah took a new mission upon herself. I go over this in detail in my Leah and Lullabye piece, but basically, after hearing about yet another terrible act that one of the many versions of Vulpas had committed, she wiped out all who had not made a life for themselves separate from that identity and path. While she was doing this, however, one copy managed to get close to the epic scroll and add the original Vulpas to those to be restored. Their soul had been destroyed long ago, and that Vulpas copy used their last chance to bring the prime form back. Adding another soul to the scroll changed the items needed, including now requiring the soul of a god. With limited options and time running short, Leah took the only chance she could. She went to see V4, the Vulpas who had ascended to godhood. Leah offered them the revival of Vulpas in exchange for their soul, and after quite a discussion, they finally agreed. The condition was that Vulpas would be allowed to live safely, and Leah agreed that as long as they signed a contract that would bind them to not harm others or repeat their mistakes, they would not be harmed. Throughout those several years, Leah had also continued raising Sachi when she wasn't at school, as Sachi had been enrolled in the Zothix Academy, the top school in all of Anaxalia. Jeremy also ended up there as the combat teacher, which Sachi was not a fan of, as there was obviously some sibling rivalry and jealousy since he got to spend much more time with Leah in Ravenloft. Leah had already told them what she was planning to do to try and prepare them, and she knew that it could cause resentment between Sachi and the rest of her family, the mother she had grown up with, trading her life for the family that she believed abandoned her. What she also needed to do was retrieve Lanell, the twin who had been stolen long ago. She and Nathan's simulacrum went to the realm of the demon prince Malconthet and attempted to fight her, but they were clearly far outmatched. Once Malconthet actually started to get annoyed by their presence, she summoned a young woman to her side. It was Lanell, several years older than she should have been. It turned out that Malconthet had changed the pace of time in her realm to keep Lanell captive for as long as possible. We asked her to come back with us, and after some explanations and promises, she agreed, and we were allowed to leave the realm. Part of the rituals Leah would perform would be to return Lanell to a young girl, allowing her the chance to be raised by her parents in safety in place of the horrifying and cruel life she had led in the hellish lands. Nearing the 3-moon eclipse, on which day the ritual would take place, both Leah and Vecna gathered the final pieces to each of their goals. Leah also found Rael, who had been living under the name Rose, and gave her an explanation that she would only understand once her memories had been restored. It was about what had happened in all that time, as well as the instructions for how to bind Vulpes to the contract. With her and the girls away in a safe place, the night arrived. In the Ascension Chamber, Vecna began casting the spell as his simulacrum kept watch. A small amount of time later, Nathan arrived. Leah had warned him to stay away, as she had asked Vecna to spare him, but Vecna said that if he showed up there, he would not be shown mercy. It was a fierce battle, but eventually Nathan was felled, as were others that had come to assist him. Leah had turned into a dragon to try and scare them away, but Vecna commanded her to breathe fire, and she could not resist. There was nothing she could do. She waited for the rest of the ritual to complete in a small side chamber, where she was granted the power of a lesser deity. She then used this power to set things as she had prepared, and the exchange was completed. Leah was no more. Nothing but memories in the minds of those few that she knew. Her purpose was complete. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed Leah's story. If you enjoyed this video, please grant me a like, and if you'd like to see some more of my art, subscribe to join me. That's all for now, so farewell, and have a wonderful day.